It's 9 p.m. You're standing at the open fridge, eating the exact thing you swore this morning you wouldn't touch. And the you from this morning? Iron-willed, unstoppable. You had a plan, and it was perfect. 12 hours later, that person is just gone. So you tell yourself the obvious thing. You ran out of willpower. You don't have enough discipline. What if none of that is true, and the problem was never you? Here's the story you've been told 100 times by 100 different videos. Willpower is like a fuel tank. You wake up with a full one, and every little thing you resist all day, the snooze button, the second coffee, the reply you don't want to send, the cake in the break room, siphons a bit out. By night, the tank runs dry, so of course you cave. It's a tidy story. It even has an official name in psychology, ego depletion. For nearly 20 years, it was one of the most famous ideas in the entire science of self-control. There's just one problem. It probably isn't true. It starts in 1998, in a room deliberately filled with the smell of fresh-baked cookies. Researchers sat hungry people down at a table with two bowls. One held warm chocolate chip cookies. The other held radishes. Half the people were told to enjoy the cookies. The other half had to sit there, smelling those cookies, and eat only the radishes. Pure resistance. Then everyone was handed a puzzle and asked to keep working until they solved it. Except the puzzle was rigged. It had no solution. The real measurement was simple. How long before you give up? The cookie group kept going. The radish group, the ones who just spent their energy resisting, quit in roughly half the time. The conclusion felt obvious. Resisting the cookies drained the tank, so there was less left for the puzzle. Willpower was a muscle. Use it, and it gets tired. That one idea exploded. The muscle metaphor ended up in best-selling books, TED Talks, 1,000 morning routine videos. It's probably the reason you picture a tank right now. Some versions went even further, claiming a sugary drink could literally refill your willpower mid-task, like topping up a gas tank with lemonade. But science runs on a quiet, ruthless rule. A finding only counts if other people can get the same result. And for a long time, nobody had really stress-tested this one. So in 2016, 23 labs around the world ran the experiment together. Same agreed protocol. Over 2,000 people. The largest, most careful test the idea had ever been given. And the effect they were chasing basically wasn't there. Statistically, it landed right next to zero. The tank the entire story was built on, when scientists finally went looking for it with the lights on, it didn't show up. Sit with that for a second, because it's the part that should feel like relief. The thing you've quietly blamed yourself for every single night. The proof that you're weak traces back to an experiment that doesn't reliably hold up. So if a tank isn't draining inside you, what is actually happening by 9 p.m.? This is where it gets good. Researchers like Michael Inslicht went back and looked, and found self-control doesn't act like fuel at all. It acts more like motivation, like attention. It rises and falls depending on whether something feels like a have to or a want to, and on whatever else is competing for you in that moment. Think about your actual day. You drag yourself out of a warm bed. You bite your tongue in a meeting. You ignore your phone for hours. You stay patient in traffic. You didn't spend one fixed supply down to empty. You started the morning with a single demand, then the day stacked on another and another, until by night you're tired, stretched thin, with 10 things pulling at you, and against all of that, the salad just stops winning. You weren't flunking a willpower test all day. You were carrying a load that kept getting heavier. There's even a strange twist hiding in here. Some research suggests the people who feel most drained are the ones who firmly believe the tank is real, as if expecting to run out helps make it happen. Scientists are still arguing about that one, so don't bet your evening on it. But notice the direction it points. Less and less of this looks like physics. More and more of it looks like setup. And here's the part that's quietly running the whole thing. We assume the disciplined people, the ones who train every day, eat clean, never seem to slip, are just better at the fight. Bigger tank, stronger muscle. They're not. When researchers studied the people who score highest in self-control, they found something almost funny. Those people aren't winning more battles with temptation. They're fighting far fewer of them. In one big set of studies, 6 of them, more than 2,000 people, the high self-control group reported resisting fewer temptations than everyone else, not more. They had quietly built their lives so the fight mostly never starts. Think about what that means for your night. The person with a box of cookies in the cupboard spends willpower every single time they walk through that kitchen. The person who just didn't buy the cookies spends none. Same fridge, same midnight, same craving. Completely different evening. And not because one of them is stronger. One is dragging against friction all day long. The other quietly moved the furniture, so there's almost nothing left to drag against. That's the entire game. Self-control was never the strength you bring to the fight. It's how few fights you set yourself up to have in the first place. Here's the sentence to keep. The disciplined aren't the ones who win the fight. They're the ones who never showed up to it. So stop trying to top up a tank that was never really there. Instead, ask one honest question about tonight. Where does the same fight keep happening to you? Maybe it's the phone charging on your nightstand, the snacks sitting at eye level, the gym clothes buried in a drawer you'll never dig through at 6 a.m. Each of those is a moment where you've quietly scheduled yourself to spend self-control over and over every day. So spend 30 seconds now while you're calm and this clear-headed version of you is still in charge. And remove exactly one of them. Charge the phone in the other room. Put the fruit at eye level and the cookies somewhere you'd have to climb for. Lay tomorrow's clothes out tonight. You're not promising to be a stronger person tomorrow. You're making sure tomorrow simply asks you for less. Because the people who look like they have bottomless discipline, most of them just stop relying on it. They redesign the day so willpower barely has to show up. You don't need a bigger tank. You were never running on one. You just need to win tonight before it even starts, by moving one small thing now, while the strong version of you still can.